are you?
I'm good. Yeah, good.
Are you getting any sleep now that you're a new father?
Yeah, so I feel bad because I am getting some sleep, and my wife is not getting like any at all, and I feel kind of bad. I went back to work after a month off, so I'm back at the grind, and she's not sleeping. So, but I am friggin' tired. I'm not getting much sleep either.
Yeah, it's quite a change, isn't it?
It is. It's my first. Do you have kids, John?
I do. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. How old are your kids?
They're older.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
so I have
cool.
grandchildren as well.
Okay, but you remember the those sleepless nights the first couple months?
I do.
And it goes away, right, John?
It does.
My mom tells me I got a lot coming to me because I threw a lot at her in my youth. So,
and she'll probably remind you. Well, the one thing that I found interesting when you're not making music, you have a rather interesting job.
Yeah, my day job is a therapist, a counselor with kids and families. Southeastern Ontario, rural southeastern Ontario. Not so rural as much anymore, but still is. I've been doing it for 15 years, and most days I can't see myself doing anything else. Some days I dream out the window and imagine touring the world or something like that, playing music. But being able to work with kids and families every day is truly a privilege, just a real gift, and obviously challenging and all that as well.
It must be challenging with COVID, with that whole period.
Yeah, it's been a real roller coaster for sure. Numbers alone would tell you that we're real busy, the complexity and the nature of the concerns has shifted a little bit as well, and it's as usual kind of a symptom of the greater social stuff that's going on too, and the anxieties and depressions and everything, as adults, we know all too well as well. So we gotta have a place for the kids to go to with that stuff.
And I guess things will hopefully get better now that we're getting out more and able to do a lot more too. Absolutely,
I think the timing with spring and hopefully. Moving on, as much as we can, as slowly as we have to, I suppose. But there's definitely an air of let's friggin' do this. Let's enjoy the outdoors. Let's get active. Let's be together. That's everywhere right now for sure.
Talking about let's be together. You've been playing a lot more, playing live gigs.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have some opportunities. I've got 3 projects going, of course, with Loon Choir, myself, and I'm in a sort of a punk rock band as well. And so between the 3 projects, I've had several shows over the last couple months, just all locally here in Ottawa, and it feels great. It feels great to be performing, playing music, bringing new material, just talking and hanging out with real life humans. It's a real gift for sure. So how do the 3 projects differ? We should mention the names of each of them. Yeah, sure. So like Fen Racket is kind of the solo sort of side project that I have. That's probably the thing that I spend a lot of most of my free time on, because I'm just always kind of playing and singing and recording or practicing. And so that's Fen Racket. My main sort of band project over the last 13 years, since 2009, has been Loon Choir, based out of Ottawa. We've been as much as a 10-piece and as little as a 6-piece in our 13 years. And right now we're an 8-piece, kind of indie rock with, I don't know. How do you come up with a genre? I don't know. Just lots of fun beats and hooks and synthesizers and vocals and all sorts of fun stuff happening. And then my newest project is a punk rock band based out of Ottawa. We're called Dead Dreamboat. We don't have any recordings yet, but we've played a handful of times so far in Ottawa, and we got together just before COVID, so we've had lots of time to rehearse and write, and so we're hoping to just come out of the gates, hit the ground running, so to speak. And yeah, so those projects are all exciting and somewhat self-explanatory in terms of like the differences for me, in the sense that when I'm working by myself, that's a whole other thing we could probably talk about. When I'm working with the 8 other people in Loon Choir, this long-standing project, it's almost, it's like a society by now. It's just a big project and has its own sort of speed and momentum that's always at play. And then the punk rock band is sort of full of energy right now with guys working with new people and feeling like we just want to make great tunes.
It's interesting, isn't it? The 3 projects are completely different. When you're on your own with Fen Racket, you can do whatever you want. But then when you have 8 or 10 people, there must be some negotiation or collaboration, both.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of moving parts, and that's the nature of it, right? If I didn't work well with people, or if I didn't get along with these folks in particular, then it wouldn't be a very fun project, or successful by my definition, which is just having fun and doing our best out there. So I desperately miss those things when I'm by myself. I'm not a solo project. Like I can't compose or orchestra, with my 10 fingers on a piano. I find it really challenging. And of course, I'm up to the task to give it my best. But working with other people, having percussion, having even just different ideas and singers, all those kinds of things are so important in making music. So I say it's a solo project, but it's me, and there's some collaboration in there as well.
So would you ever think of taking some of your Fen Racket material to Loon Choir?
Yeah, for sure. Like, they're all songs that would have been Loon Choir songs anyways if I didn't just start recording them at home. I kind of have it, I thought of it earlier as there's songs that, essentially are on the Loon Choir wait list, and I'm just kind of like, well, I can't wait any longer, so I'm going to just try this one on my own. And then they hear it, and it's like, oh, yeah, we could work with that. And so there's some wiggle room there. But we got a long waiting list already for songs with Loon Choir, and lots of people have great material in that band as well. So, my songs can kind of have their own little space with Fen Racket as well.
Now, Fen Racket is a Surkeus Records artist. How did you get involved with Surkeus?
Yeah, so I know Joseph is sort of the founder or a co-founder of Surkeus Records, and I know him from his days in southeastern Ontario. And I used to love coming to his shows. I always bug him about it. His album Bad Eyes just hits me, and I'm always just like, oh, that's a great new album, Joseph, but man, oh man, that Bad Eyes record, eh? I was always just a big fan and supporter of his, and he showed me support as well. And so just online chatting and all that kind of stuff throughout the years, and just kind of invited me to be a part of that community, and it's a really cool thing he's got going on.
Should we take a look at your albums?
Yeah, for sure. I have to admit, I'm pretty nervous. I from listening to your podcast, I've learned that I don't have this like academic and like deep history with all these great like obscure and cool artists, so I'm feeling a little nervous, but
no, your list is pretty cool. I think it's cool.
Yes, thanks, John. Thank you.
So your go-to album, Man-Made Object by Go-Go Penguin.
Yeah, I put that as my go-to record. And it's a banger. Just so much good energy. It's a 3-piece, but you'd never know it. It's like I think I've seen like descriptions of them as like acoustic techno or something. Like it's very like driving and groovy, but it's all like, upright bass, piano, and like a cool little drum kit with lots of little like shakers and stuff built into it. And it's instrumental and it's kind of jazzy, or it's pretty jazzy, and just a beautiful record. Yeah.
Do you listen to jazz and jazz piano trios generally?
I do, and I like it's like the shuffle syndrome where like I'll find some, like put on some Bill Evans or something that's got my ear, and then just kind of let it go, and I'm the worst for like cataloging that and knowing, like what was that, that last track. So but definitely I remember when I was in high school I used to deliver pizzas in like late night CBC. I don't know what night of the week. It's pretty regularly, maybe as often, but they'd have lots of good jazz on it. It was always the piano and jazz, and if they had like the bass and drum with it, it was a bonus. I was really digging that, and like I don't know a single artist that I heard those nights because it was whatever, delivering pizzas, but I do dig it for sure.
How did you find this album?
I think it was through just kind of like a deep dive. The band that kind of connected me to them was, I believe they're called Lydian Collective. And it's kind of like instrumental. It's not super jazzy, but that kind of instrumental, a little bit of like big band, but like modern feel. And they have like the same initials and a lot of the similar aesthetic as Loon Choir. I saw their like art somewhere. I'm like, oh, what's this? LC, Lydian Collective, and it's groovy. And then it's like, well, you might like Go-Go Penguin, and yeah. So Go-Go Penguin has definitely survived my. It's my go-to. Man-made object is my go-to for sure.
Pitchfork said it's tailor-made for laid-back enjoyment to be consumed at a moderate volume without much fuss. And The Guardian said it still feels like clubbing music.
Yeah, I was just like when I was listening recently, I wrote down a couple of things. I was just that sort of that playfulness in some of it, but also like enduring. Like it's just like there's something genuine about it. A sort of like a dissonance, like things that don't sit right. It's like that's not perfect. That's not right. But it just makes you kind of feel curious and I guess like a little joyful, a little giddy in there as well. It just, I don't know. It's really these sort of some words that I would use to describe it. But Pitchfork and The Guardian probably have better words.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that album because I knew of Go-Go Penguin, but I hadn't heard that album, and it's quite a good one.
I find myself getting like defensive when I suggest it to people because they're like, Go-Go Penguin? Like, what is that? Is that like an Inspector Gadget, like Batman reference or something? It is a bit of a funny name, and I don't know the history behind it. It's the little scavenger hunt for your listeners.
Now, an album that stands the test of time, OK Computer by Radiohead.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where I feel like I'm, it's pretty cliche, I mean, I think, was it like Time magazine said it was like, best album of all time or something like that. Like, I'm not saying anything new by saying this album stands the test of time. But certainly for me, again, like in high school, hearing this album for the first time, I remember, it was on a tape cassette that a friend of mine who was like a sweet guitar player, but he really liked Oasis, and he's like, this album is like trash. I don't want it. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, like I love the Bends. I want to hear this, and like Airbag right from the beginning, the like that sick guitar and sort of like distorted drums coming in, and then just endless hooks and. Yeah. So it's my timeless album. Yeah, lyrically, musically, I will always, it's the one.
I'm sure it would be on many lists for standing the test of time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 20 some years later, I guess 25 years later, it's, songs like Electioneering and Climbing Up the Walls and exit music for a film like yeah, that, that need for escape after a friggin' pandemic, we know what that feels like.
Now, the first album you bought, another classic, Smash by The Offspring.
Yeah, for sure. That's one I'm kind of embarrassed about as well. It's like, who puts that on the record? But on the list, I had to be honest, and that was, the first one. I still remember it was kind of like a bookstore in Brockville where I grew up, and they sold CDs in the back, and I got that, and it was awesome. I remember my friend's mom took it away from him because of all the swearing, and just all the memories of being like, whatever, 14, 15, and listen to these like sweet pump up jams. I sort of, I thought of it as like super like validating for, an angry, 15-year-old boy, living in, the sort of the burbs or whatever. I guess that's how and sort of, validation on multiple fronts. That's before I kind of got into punk rock. So, the Offspring Smash was definitely a forewarning of greater stuff to come in my musical library.
Did you plan to buy that?
No, it was like, what do they have on their shelves this week or this month? Like, I don't know, just going downtown Brockville and check out what was it, the Book Trader, I think, or Walkabout Books. And, I had no idea. It's going to be, it could have been friggin' Sheryl Crow or something, whatever they had on the on the shelves.
That's quite a difference, Sheryl Crow and The Offspring.
I had that one too. I remember that one. I was like, and I was just like, well, Offspring's way cooler, so if there's any discrepancy, I'm going with that one.
Now, your Sunday morning album.
Yeah. So I said Dustin O'Halloran, Piano Solos Volume 2 by Dustin O'Halloran, and I realized, in the context of my sort of, anxiousness with this interview, this is kind of my attempt at like, being all hoity-toity, like, oh yes, I have a neoclassical album that I listen to on Sunday mornings, but I do. It's a really cool record. It's just like opus like 20 through like 35 or something like that. And so just all these kind of like short little snippets of just beautiful, soft piano songs, instrumental again. And I got into that from a few years ago, 2017 or so. I got back into Mogwai a lot, and realized they kept on making amazing music after like I finished high school. Like what was it, like Rock Action and Ten Rapid, those sweet albums back in the day were incredible. And so in my adulthood, revisiting Mogwai and hearing these amazing this amazing catalog of albums that they've made throughout their long career. And so then just more kind of instrumental and sort of neoclassical type stuff kind of was popping up, and I was diving more into it. And so I could, it's for my Sunday, kind of Sunday morning list. I could also include things like Balmoria and incredible composers like Peter Broderick, Niels Fromm, Max Richter, a cool project called Illuvium. All just like got Sunday morning piano sort of instrumental vibes written all over it. I
didn't recognize his name, but then when I looked him up, I saw that he was part of the Winged Victory for the Sullen. Oh,
okay. Yeah, cool. And I know, I see his name come up along with others like Max Richter for film soundtracks and stuff. So I guess that's a big market for the sort of new wave neoclassical type stuff. So
it's definitely a good album for a Sunday morning.
Yeah, definitely. I was sort of thinking about it as like it's good for like, yeah, I mean, what's Sunday morning? It's making breakfast. It's, maybe doing some stretching, doing some reading, doing some writing, doing some, sipping on a coffee, looking out the window. So, that's a pretty ideal Sunday if you're not too busy.
Changing the baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Those were the days when I used to just be able to do that. Yeah.
You're dreaming.
Yeah, exactly. I can't complain though. Again, I have been busy with shows lately. So, I come home after a late night, and my wife somehow is pretty empathetic to my my lifestyle. So I really, I can't complain, and owe her all the love for sure.
That's great. Now, an album that more people should hear, Julia with Blue Jeans On by Moonface. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this was released in 2013. Moonface is the project of Spencer Krug, known for his songwriting and synthesis in Wolf Parade. And so this album came out in 2013 and just blew me away. Like, in listening to Wolf Parade, my good friend would always laugh at me that I like Dan Beckner, his songs, more than Spencer Krug's songs. Like, oh, they're just gritty and cool, crunchy songs. And it's just no, Spencer Krug is Wolf Parade. He is the best songwriter. And this album, Julia with Blue Jeans On, convinced me of that more than his other stuff from Sunset Rubdown and those projects. But those are really cool as well. But kind of hard to listen to. This was honestly just such a clean, beautiful, clean cut record, and it's just piano and vocals. I think he said that they did a couple overdubs or do a retake here and there, but I think and so from the beginning to the end, just a beautiful, beautiful album lyrically and musically. It's literally the closest thing to an orchestra with 10 fingers. He dances on the piano like no one I've seen, and the grit and the heart are there, every note and every word. I wrote down a couple of lines from some of the songs that I really liked on this album, and from the song November 2011, it says, "You paced outside my house like a tiger in a cage." And then set fire to my music. It wasn't much good anyway. Set fire to these computers we've had to use until today. And then another one is a song called "Everyone is Noah, Everyone is the Ark," and it's easy to just kind of listen to it because it's so beautiful. But when you hear the words and sort of see it as I don't know, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but sort of seeing it as this sense of hope, sort of with among the sort of frantic chaos that we live in, but. So it's everyone has to build themselves up when heaven is cruel, is a great sort of expression of that, and the idea turning your hands into wood to make this boat, just this kind of collective nature of that, and then at the end, sort of the idea of even hope has sort of skeptics. The line, "Everyone has found themselves at the end of their rope, looking up at the boat, saying, I don't know if I can call this home." I don't know. It's just such a beautiful record. Every song has so many lyrical gems and beautiful, beautiful music, and therefore, Spencer Krug is the best. He is just the best. Everyone should check out all of his projects. From probably know Wolf Parade already, but just a brilliant songwriter, brilliant musician. So, yeah. And
this album had quite good reviews.
Yeah, I think the Pitchforkers really like this one too. How many? I wonder how many. What do they use? They use the stars.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's that's honestly, probably the artist that I owe the most sort of inspiration from. It's been a real treat to listen. And he just puts out so much stuff, different projects and so much rich beauty in his writing.
Now, the last album you bought.
I went literal for that question. The last vinyl that I bought, Little Feat, Hoy Hoy, 1981. And yeah, it was actually a suggestion from Richard at Grizzlies Records in Brockville from the days that I lived there. He seemed, based on my questions and the records that I was looking at, he thought that I would like this. I sort of, I'm not really into like jammy kind of like feel good rock and roll. So I was like, yeah, it's cool. Okay. And didn't really think too much of it, but it's actually a pretty cool record. And to know that it was released like post, after the singer, had died and broken up the band and then died, it's just really, really kind of fascinating, and the artwork is really cool too. It's got like dogs and like techno stuff happening. I don't know, it's cool. They have like their brand identity like locked down from day one for sure. That's the end of your choices. I gave you a choice as well. I gave you the debut album from Leon Russell. What did you think of that? Yeah, I was really surprised that I really dug it. Like I just, again, I don't have a huge, musical whatever library, and so I was just like, oh, I don't know, there's like 1970 kind of like, what's this, rock record going to be like? And I was really surprised. Like the first song, Song for You, just like totally stole my heart, and it's too bad because I feel like the rest of the record doesn't like sit at the same level as that first song, but that's why they put it first, I guess, so you listen to it. But I had to watch a couple of like live videos of these songs because I was so curious, and they totally just like killed it. Like they're just awesome musicians, and pretty cool songs. I wrote down the line from Song for You as, I love you in a place where there is no space and time. Like just that kind of, lovely sort of poetic, but genuine. It's like, it's perfect. It's just like this nice richness to it. The musicians on this album, it's incredible, actually. It's George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Ringo Starr, Steve Winwood, Joe Cocker. That's nuts. It's so cool. It's an all-star cast for sure. And the rest of his career was just like never kind of slowed down. He just kept on collaborating and working in different roles with the best of the best. And like I don't even know. Like, sorry, like is he still alive? No, not too long ago. I actually saw him at Blues Fest here a few years ago. He has such a distinct voice, doesn't he? Absolutely. That's why I had to see it live. It's just like, well, not see it live, but like watch some videos anyways, because it's like, how is this? And then when I saw like footage from like 1971, I saw who he was. I was like, oh, okay, like he's belting it out, like he's going after it. Really nice. It actually reminded me of an Ottawa band called St. Clair, a singer-songwriter named Matt Clare. He's got that real kind of high raspy, soulful voice, and just kind of had I could see some connotations from there. So and I mean it's weird, but like I kind of have to reference Axl Rose because if Axl Rose wasn't influenced by by Leon Russell, then I don't know. I he's in my library now, so I appreciate you introducing me to that record for sure. Good. It's always good to find new music. Oh, big time. And now it's like I feel like I'm on that journey a little bit more because like I said, I was so nervous for this conversation, and like not having, listening to other people you interview and say, oh yeah, I grew up with music, and it just was part of everything. And it's like, you know what? I was like an angry teenager, and electric guitar is where I found my solace, and I just never grew out of it. And so now that we've had this conversation, I feel relieved, but also a sense of curiosity in having more conversations like this with others, and learning and listening to the greats, for sure. So I appreciate it.
Oh, that's super. That's great. Well, thank you for spending some time with me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, John. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Okay. Bye then.
Okay. Bye-bye.